got to watch Spotlight, a documentary I've been working on for a few weeks with some of my friends. I wanted to focus on how people experience music, mostly how they feel. So I wanted to capture how different people experience music according to different actions and different genres as well. Hi, Amy.
Hi. I'm Amy. I'm 19 and I'm an artist.
My name is Brian. I'm a musician and I'm 21 years old.
Hi, my name is Zori Eve. I am 21 years old and I am a composer.
Hi, I'm Juliana. I'm 20 and I'm a singer-songwriter and my pronouns are she, her.
I'm Stacy, I'm 21 and I'm studying biology.
My name is Hannah, I'm 20 years old and I study computer science with focus on autonomous systems, but on my free time I'm an artist, or I try to be.
Hi, my name is Mary, I'm 16 and I'm a student.
My name is Malu, I'm 20 and I'm the owner of this channel and the film crew. I obviously listen to music, but I also sing and I dance ballet, and sometimes I play music as well.
I listen to a lot of music all day long. I compose. I've been composing for about 5 years. I sometimes play live, like coffee shops or casual things with friends, like performing. And I'm learning to produce with a mentor here in Brazil.
My relationship to music is I'm a musician, so I play music. I listen to a lot of music, it's just like my whole life basically.
Well, I listen and play music. I play the piano and I play a little bit of guitar.
I dance ballet, I sing, and I listen to music.
I played violin when I was younger and I also played piano in high school, so I've always been involved in like music and playing instruments, and I've also always been heavily involved in stand culture.
I play the piano a bit and I'm involved with theater on the tech side, but I've had experiences with musical theater.
So, ever since I was very young, I've always been surrounded by music and musicians. My dad, he loves music. He is always playing music around the house. My grandparents, my mom's side of the family, they're very into classical music. My aunt plays like the piano. All of my friends play instruments, so I've always been surrounded by music, and I decided to start playing the piano when I was in high school. You know, all of high school I played the piano, and yeah, that's how I found my passion for music. And you know, I learned about music history, I learned about music theory, and I just fell in love with it ever since I was a little tiny child.
Even though that I've done ballet since I was 3, I feel like when I truly discovered my passion for music was when I started doing singing. My mom randomly put me in the class one day. I was asking her the other day why I started class, and she said that it was because I would always sing around the house. And I think that that was the beginning of me actually listening and finding my own music that I liked, because in the past I would just listen to whatever my family was listening to in the car or whatever my sister was listening to in our room. And I feel like that truly marked the beginning of me starting to explore music.
Quand la peur s'immisce dans nos illusions, on abandonne, le ciel pardonne.
My relationship with music is quite weird, I would say. I come from a very long line of artists, and even though I do enjoy visual arts, I never considered myself to be a performer of any kind. In fact, I guess I always thought of myself as almost like musically challenged. I like to sing for fun, but I find music very intimidating, if that makes sense. And so I challenged myself into taking a Piano 1 class in high school, and I did find out I was much slower than all the other kids. I didn't have that sort of inherent natural connection to music or anything. But on my own, I treated it almost like a puzzle or like an equation. I had fun, even if I wasn't very good. And for theater, I also joined in high school. My sister is an actor and I did tech, and I fell in love with it all, but musical theater has just like a special place in my heart.
But it's never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you know all the pain and now the day bleeds into nightfalls, and you're not here to get me through it all.
I started dancing ballet when I was like 4, so I've always been around music, and obviously in Brazil there's always music everywhere with carnaval and everything. So I think that me being surrounded by music definitely affected my open-mindedness probably when it comes to it. But I think that when I discovered my passion for it would probably be during my emo phase. When I was 12 or 13, I started my emo phase and I started listening to My Chemical Romance, and I think it was like the first time that I found music that I really enjoyed and was very excited about, and I wanted to learn more about it and just listen to every single band ever. So that was really fun for me. I think it also affected like the way that I was and like my style. And till this day, like I don't look as emo anymore, but I think it's like a huge part of the person that I am, and I like really found myself through that music, which is kind of cliche, but
So I was introduced to really loving and creating music when I was in middle school. I did choir and I learned kind of how to play the piano by learning music theory within choir, because we had to read the music, and so they taught us music theory, and then I would go home and I realized that, whoa, music theory like is kind of the same as the piano. So I would go home and play on my brother's keyboard at my house. It was a really bad keyboard, but I would like make my own little songs. My grandfather gave me his upright acoustic piano, and I was just playing that growing up. But I didn't really start to compose like classical music until I was like a senior in high school. I started listening to way more classical music, and I was like, I wanna tap into this. I really like this stuff, and I really sucked at first, but I stuck with it because I really liked it. So I just decided I was just gonna keep practicing and keep expanding my knowledge of classical music, and I was really able to find what I like and develop my own language of classical music and composition, and then my own style, and so I was able to just start creating things.
Well, there are a few. Being from Brazil, from Rio, there is definitely a lot of funk around me, and funk is very, very popular, very rhythmic Brazilian party music that is so much fun to listen to and to dance to. I love it. A lot of samba, very traditional in Brazil, and I absolutely enjoy it. But also a lot of other things, like a big variety from like pop to punk to reggaeton. I've got into a lot of reggaeton recently, and I really like the variety. I think it's good for my brain.
For me personally, I don't think that the experience with music changes with genre, because I think it really depends on the artist and the relation that I have with specific music and with specific artists, because I could feel some way with a certain album than I do with another. For example, I listen to Harry Styles and Phoebe Bridgers, and I put both of them on the same kind of pedestal for me with the way that I feel about it, because they both mean something to me very deeply emotionally, their music. I feel like I experience both of them on the same level, even though they're both completely different genres.
Yes, so I listen to a lot of J-rock, alternative music, I listen to metal, a lot of, I would say, like experimental music. And I think that every genre of music and music movement is supposed to give you your own unique experience.
I myself actually don't listen to music. People usually react weirdly when I say that, but it's true. I don't have any music on my phone, and I'm never just casually listening to songs. So I would say I'm mostly surrounded by my family's taste. From my parents and grandparents, it's a lot of Brazilian music, MPB, My younger sister, she's into K-pop, so I got exposed to a lot of that as well. But my older sister is actually the one who introduced me to a lot. She has like the most range and taste that I've ever seen, be it foreign music, musical theater, mainstream pop, weird alt, indie stuff, you name it, I've heard it from her. But I don't think I particularly lean towards any specific genre.
I make and compose classical music, so I'm definitely surrounded by lots of classical music, especially like minimalist music and impressionist composers. Those are like my two favorite classical genres, and I try to like emulate those styles within my own compositions. I also listen to a lot of jazz music and also like just like singer-songwriter stuff, indie music. I also like experimental kind of like synth and electronic stuff. It's pretty cool.
I would say music affects my emotions a lot more than my physical body, depending on like the music instrumentals and lyrics. And when it comes to performing music, it's definitely nerve-wracking because people expect a lot from you, and you know you have this audience watching you, so it's definitely you get really nervous. But the more you do it, the better you get. So yeah.
So when it comes to the feeling of music, I feel it mostly when I'm dancing, I think, because it becomes more physical. Because when you're dancing, you feel the music, obviously, and the emotion of it, because you have to portray that through movement. And I feel like how that is done is that at first I'm very focused on the dancing, because you have to obviously remember the steps and everything. But then you have to kind of let go of that focus of the dance, and you have to bring in the feeling of the song so that you can actually portray the feeling of the song through movement.
I feel like definitely like listening to music, especially like, you know, these established artists and like these highly produced songs and stuff, it's kind of just like perfect in a way. And then when you're like trying to write a song or producing a song, you kind of just get, at least I do, I just get very like nitpicky with it, and some would say I'm like a bit hard on myself because I do tend to like really judge whatever I write. So yeah, I feel like that's very different.
I do think it changes. Like I mentioned before, I do suck at performing, so when I'm doing it for other people, I feel way more self-conscious, and I focus a lot more on the technical aspects instead of focusing on the emotions, which is arguably just as important. And I like playing the piano because I find it amazing to control an instrument and to feel my body connected physically, like manipulating sound. But presenting art or music to other people just makes me feel very vulnerable and exposed. Though, like, if I were to compare that to, for example, being part of a cast or crew in a musical theater, or even just getting to experience it, I find it to be completely different. There is so much more around it, and you end up creating experiences and memories to your own emotions and reactions. So they become intertwined with music itself. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I just feel like when it comes to theater, it carries a very much different weight to it.
Music definitely feels different depending on what you're doing with it in the moment. I think that for me, especially singing, feels different than other ways I interact with music, because when I'm singing, I feel like I judge the song less because I'm more focused on portraying what the song is saying and realizing how the song relates to my voice and what I need to do to, you know, perform the song. So I feel like that's different, because when I'm actually listening to music, I kind of judge it because I'm like, oh, I have to like the song. But when I'm singing, I don't really have to like the song. I just have to kind of like be a vessel for the song to be, you know, put out there essentially.
Music is like the flow of the wind, because they're both elements that flow through the air that you can hear and feel but can't see.
It would be an ocean wave because, like I said before, when you're dancing and you're trying to kind of translate the feeling of the music through your body, it has to flow through you for it to look good. And also with singing, it's the same concept because you start singing here and it just kind of flows through you and you can feel it, how your voice rises through you. So that's why I think it's like an ocean wave.
I feel like it really depends, but the most of the time when I write something that I really like, it comes from just sitting down at the piano and noodling around until I find something that I like, either like a voicing or progression, melody, or rhythm, and I kind of take that little stem of idea and then build that into something bigger. And once I get that little idea, I feel like I can really start to like envision what I want this sound of this composition to be like, and I will just keep on building off of that one idea and then build off of the next one and just keep on going until you get something that's way bigger and finished.
Yeah, so when I come up with a song idea or just any idea in general, I'm not the type of person to just literally like be like, I'm gonna write this song and then, you know, just sit down and do it. It kind of just comes to me, like it just pops into my head, mainly at work, probably just because I'm like, you know, bored sometimes. So I got nothing else to think about, and so I'm literally just standing there, and then a song idea will just like pop into my head. So I just like, you know, voice note that down, and then once I get home, do like a scratch demo of it, and then from there I just kind of build onto that.
I think for probably all of my songs, most of them, if not all of them, are definitely inspired by a lyric or a melody that I heard somewhere else and that I became obsessed with. And I'm like, ooh, what if that went a little differently? Or what if I could extract that piece that I'm obsessed with and I could put it in a vacuum and then create something completely new with it and just expand upon that idea. And I think I could probably go through all of my songs and find either a piece of a melody or a piece of a lyric that is from a different song, but just recontextualized, redone, remade, and turned into something completely new. It's not making a copy of something that already exists, but taking the thing that I've fallen in love with and say, can I make more with this? Can I make something else with this? Make something new? And I immensely enjoy doing that. I feel like it's always like getting a puzzle piece from a different puzzle and trying to build a puzzle around it, almost like a mosaic of ideas. And I love that. There's one song of mine, the only thing I can think of right now, one song of mine that's unreleased is I use the lyric "Cause I've been sleeping on my dreams," and it's a reference to the Jacob Collier song "Sleeping on My Dreams" that I was obsessed with at the time, and the song that helped me make a lot of sense of a lot of things in my life at the time. So yeah, that's the clear connection that I can draw right now from my own experience.
Acorda e fica mais pouco. Você sabe que eu sou louco e é aqui que a gente vai se entender. Pra quê? Complicar assim, não tem nada de errado, pode confiar em mim.
Well, I love writing, I love performing, and releasing is always exciting, but writing for me, I think, is like that initial creative getting into the groove of it is the most fascinating to me, because I feel like you just shift into a different plane entirely and you really let yourself be free, and there's no fear of making mistakes, there's no fear of anything holding you back. You can just do anything you want and see if it turns out okay, and if it doesn't, it's okay, you can just try again the next day. And I really love that creative space because it really feels like anything is possible.
I feel like the most meaningful part of like the whole music thing is like writing it as well as performing it. Writing it just because you are literally like taking this idea that just comes out of your head. You know, you get like scratch like the basics down of it, and then from there you just expand upon it, and it just kind of grows and grows, and it's like the end product is just kind of like dang, like I really did this. And then getting to perform just music, even if it's yours or not, it's like it's insane. Like it's a feeling that like can't even explain, because you know you're just playing these songs for people and you know seeing the audience's reaction and you know just having a fun time and just being yourself, doing what you love. It's nice.
I feel like in Western music, we kind of already have like connotations to different feelings, like whether something's like happy, it's like a major sound, or sad, it's like a minor sound, or if it's like mysterious, maybe you're using like a whole tone scale or something. We just already have like this basis of what like certain emotions sound like within music, so I feel like that's definitely, or for sure, it's like definitely a big contributor to like the emotion of a song. But also different genres have different emotions to them, and so I think by listening to different songs and kind of like analyzing the feeling that you get from that, you can kind of, not really by transcribing it, but just listening and like hearing like what you like within that and like what feeling it gives you, you can kind of emulate that within your own music.
I think playing in a group is something that I like more than playing alone, because I don't know, because you find like a sense of community with the people that you're playing with, and you make a lot of relationships and you find a lot of people to relate to on that level of playing instruments. So when I played piano for a few years, that was obviously something that I did alone, even though I had like my friends who also played piano, but it was very nerve-wracking to have to play a piece by myself rather than feeling like I have the support of other people with me when I'm playing in a group, like in an orchestra.
There's the more immediate, obvious aspects of it, like you having to act or dance and follow specific cues and directions, but deeper than that, at least to me personally, in musical theater it's almost like you're the instrument or the medium for the message. So when I think of an artist performing a song, it's about them. It's about the artist getting to express themselves, be it through having fun or letting loose, or by sharing a personal song that just means a lot to them. But for musical theater, on top of having fun and getting to interpret and also feel all those sentiments, you're simply a part of a bigger thing, a bigger group, a whole story. You're a character, but you're still you. And you're the device through which a story is being told. So I think altogether, you're an entertainer, like a singer, but also a dancer, an actor, a storyteller. From a creation perspective, it would be narrative, themes, characters, and all of the tech stuff. But from a performing perspective, I think a lot of it goes down to energy. So like cast connections and chemistry, and obviously there's a lot of skill and experience and efforts involved, but I think theater boils down to passion the most, and it comes across clear as day. So like when the cast is having fun, you're having fun. I truly do think like dynamics do show through a lot when you're watching theater.
Music, definitely, every genre has, I would say, their own subculture. Well, you know, like J-rock has like all these different like Japanese subcultures. It's like visual kei and all that. So I'm really into that stuff. And you know, you have like the emos, the metalheads, and all these people. So I love how music does that, you know, and it influences fashion, you know, communities a lot. For example, in visual kei, there's a lot of artists that have influenced the fashion. So, for example, Mana from Malice Miser, he basically invented Gothic Lolita, and everyone loves Gothic Lolita, and it's basically a fashion movement now in Japan. So it's been like that for years, and it's just so cool to see how a musician and, you know, all these music subcultures and genres can influence people that way.
My favorite thing about concerts is not just seeing the artist live, but the sense of community that you feel when you go to a concert, because you are surrounded by people that you don't even know, but you feel like you've known them your whole life, because you're all together connected because you listen to one specific person and you all relate to these albums or these songs on a personal level. Whether it's different for everybody, you still feel that connection with people. When you walk into a concert, like for example, I went to Harry Styles Love on Tour, it was such an insane experience, because you walk in and you're not even thinking about seeing the artist. You're looking around and you're seeing the different outfits that people are wearing, and you're talking to new people that you've never met before and making new relationships, and you feel just so welcome, and like the environment is so loving and open, and you feel more free to, I guess, be whatever you want to be in the moment in a concert, just even if it's just for like an hour or two. I have been to a handful of concerts, but I did go to a K-pop concert where it felt more impersonal than it would going to see a Western artist live, because at a K-pop concert, everything is very calculated and almost kind of like mechanical, which is not a bad thing, but it feels a little bit impersonal. Whereas you see an artist like Phoebe Bridgers or Harry Styles, and they interact a lot with the audience, so a lot of people bring signs to the audience and like they read out the signs, answer questions, and they have like even like full-on conversations with people in the crowd. So it feels a little more personal and you feel more connected to the artist. They feel like more attainable as people, and they don't feel like they're on such like a higher level than you in that moment when you're there, because they interact with you a lot.
Do you think that has to do like with the fact of like the language barrier sometimes, or is it just literally the culture?
I don't think it's a language barrier. I think it's just the culture, which isn't a bad thing, because Western artists have always been that way, where they interact a lot with the audience. But like with K-pop groups, especially when they're playing in their country versus when they're playing here, even that is very different. So I think it's just a culture thing.
Brazilian music is very telling a story in a calm yet exciting way. For example, bossa nova, most of them are just songs dwelling on love, yet they feel more emotional and more passionate in a way. I think that makes it very different from English because of the language, because of the Latin root to the language. The Latin language has more meaningful words and a wider variety of words, I would say, and that adds to the impact compared to English songs.
Well, I think the center of gravity for, obviously Brazil has immense variety of musical genres. It is an incredibly musical and artistic country, a rich musical culture. But I think that a big center of gravity for a lot of Brazilian-born genres is percussion. And historically, like, people would percuss on anything available. And it created a very rich percussion culture in Brazil, and I think it makes a really different specific sound of different Brazilian genres, and I think it's a really fun collection of genres to dance to enjoy time with friends with, things like that. So I think that's an aspect that's quite unique. A second aspect that I find quite unique is also Brazilians' ability to make anything joyful, even if it's like a sad song, they'll find a fun, joyful spin on it. And I find that endlessly fascinating, and I love the fact that I grew up within that culture. It's very, very enjoyable.
I love how music has a way with messing with your emotions, whether you're in the kitchen cooking and it gets you all excited, or you're listening to a beautiful piano song and it suddenly makes you want to cry.
I think the thing that I like the most about music is kind of the sense of self that it gives you, because when you find a song or a musical genre that you really relate to and feel connected to, it kind of affects you in a very specific way. You kind of get into this music and the community that has to do with the genre that you like, and you kind of understand more the person that you are.
I think music, it's a universal language. You can relate to people and have different connections with people through music, and it's so versatile. You know, you have people that listen to rock, people that listen to, I don't know, country, people that listen to so many things. They have so many subcultures, and it's just so cool to see how everyone, you know, acts a different way depending on what they like.
What do you feel? How do you feel about music?
There, boom. Okay, it's I think every genre of music movement is supposed to give its own unique experience.
Okay. Ooh, yes. You always listen to me. I have to take a shower in the kitchen.
Yeah, in the kitchen while I'm cooking, in the shower while I'm coming up with random ideas for poems. Yeah. Or videos. I literally came up with this video idea randomly after I left the shower one day. Too much information.
That's it.
Did I
want to listen to that
For your album or whatever.
This is the last album I listened to. Silent Hill 3 soundtrack.
Is it called dubstep? The noisy music? Yeah. Like teep teep. Like
I don't know.
Oops,
Maybe
oops,
they call
oops.
Guys, close your eyes.
Okay, I'm not looking.
I'm like thinking, like, what do I wish people knew? I'm like, I don't know. I gatekeep it.